Hi, I'm Neil. I live in Normandy, France, and I moved here a few years ago. And I bought what I think of as a very economical house. In fact, I thought it was dirt cheap for what I got. And there's still a lot of properties in Normandy and Brittany which are still incredibly good value. So I just want to show you the sort of thing that you can get. I got this for less than 50,000, and that doesn't matter whether you put it in euros, dollars, or pounds. That's still incredibly cheap for a three-bedroomed house. So we'll have a look at that and let me know what you think at the end. Okay. This is the village centre, the church, the mairie or town hall. Not much used now. This is the house, so I'm right next door to the town hall. But it's a nice little house, not done anything to the outside at all. So although this is taken relatively recently, this is how it looks. You've got to love these little shutters and things, haven't you? So, going inside, and you'll notice there are two front doors. One of them I call the back door, which is this one, because there's no other doors. Right? That's what happens when you amalgamate buildings, I think. Just inside, there's a downstairs bathroom, quite a nice kitchen. In fact, a very nice kitchen. I really like my little kitchen here. I wasn't expecting it to be quite so nice. Notice the range. It's an electric and gas job. So that's quite nice. The furniture that you see was mostly here. In fact, nearly all of it was here. And the stairs upstairs are actually hidden away in what looks like a cupboard at the bottom end of the kitchen. And they are quite steep. I have to admit, I just use them as a ladder. Continuing the downstairs, that's the other front door, the front door, which faces directly into where I'm sitting right now, which is the study. And this will be a bedroom if I ever reach that stage in life where I'm old and doddery and can't manage the stairs. Sometimes it feels like I'm actually heading up that way. So you get the layout, the kitchen and bathroom down one side, and this rather nice spacious lounge at the other. And again, a lot of the furniture was already here when I came. And as you can see, it's not in bad nick at all, and I haven't done anything to it. No decorating. You've got to love things which have got beams, haven't you? I mean, they're just so nice. Now, it's not perfect. There was a little bit of black mould and things. Now, up those rather steep stairs, and I just love that little light at the top there. You've got 3 bedrooms. And slowly panning into the main bathroom, which is the upstairs bathroom. As you can see, it's got a modern bath and basin, toilet, shower cubicle, and of course its own beams. Hello, there's some handsome man down there. All right, so quite a spacious bathroom for me. To the side of the bathroom, you've got the grenier or attic, which actually is on the same level as the bedrooms. It's just it hasn't been done up, and quite frankly, I'm quite happy to leave it because there's plenty of bedrooms should I need them. Now, this first one is just a single. Again, the bed was here, and it looks out over the front of the house. Now, you don't get a view for this sort of money, except over the village and the distant hills. And across the other side of the little hall, you've got the second bedroom. which is rather nice, sort of strange walls, lots of beams, and somehow they've managed to put a double bed in, which again was here when I bought the property. All right. I haven't used that one, so I'm not sure at all about that. And out the back, through the window, you've got a view over my garage and the neighbour's house, and then my garden to the left there. Now, coming into the main bedroom, which is again to the front of the house, I think this is a perfectly adequate and lovely little double bedroom. And it's the one I use. And again, the bed and things were already here. You got to love the quirkiness of these old things, with a little man guarding your shutters and old-fashioned keys and things. Now at the back there's access to the mairie, but it's little used except for a very occasional party. And when I say party, I mean really quiet kids' parties and that sort of thing. So this is my driveway, the garage you've seen, the entrance to the garden, downstairs shed which I use for my bicycle. Moving into the garden, you can see that unlike the house, it's somewhat more unkempt and unkept. Right. I have to admit that actually I was rather fascinated by this. I've never been a gardener and never really had a garden at all, or even a barbecue. So there we go. Now, somewhere behind this clump, I'm told there's an outdoor toilet, not to be used. There's a footpath under there, would you believe it? But we can't use it at the moment because it's just somewhat overgrown. And like all good adventurous gardens, there's something to discover at the bottom. And there's a chicken shed. Thankfully, no chickens. I'm not really into keeping captive animals. But anyway, so that's a chicken run. And as you can see, it's inhabited by other creatures. And inside, the place was full of clutter, some of it quite useful tools and the like, but some of it not so useful, and the déchetterie got quite a lot of it. The outside was beginning to grow into the inside. I'm delighted to say that a bit of hard work changed that. So this is the chicken shed and garden as you can see now. And I must admit, I'm rather pleased with it. So that's the tour of my little house and garden, just showing you an idea of how you can buy a cheap property in the north of France, in what is actually a rather beautiful area. It's not the bit of Normandy that most people think of, which is the bit that sticks into the English Channel. It's further south than that, this particular bit, but Normandy and Brittany generally very lovely places. And if you look on the site, you'll see plenty of houses with an asking price of about 70k, and you can probably put in an offer reasonably below that, which is of course what I did. And I would say that the price you're paying should be inclusive, so that you're not paying any fees on top of that. So my price did include everything. Now, it may look like some of the fees and things are quite excessive, but the properties themselves are actually quite cheap. So in order to make a living, they do actually have to have a larger percentage than you might be used to in terms of commission. Right, if you've got any questions or anything, just put them in the comments. And if you like my stuff, press the buttons and the things. This is going to be followed up by a gardening program. No, just kidding. But I will put a video on showing how I knocked the garden into shape for anybody who's interested. But But I would put a disclaimer in. I am not a gardener. Okay, bye.